Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today we have an incredibly interesting Humble Bundle of interest to game developers, specifically if you are working in trailers, movies, or possibly special effects or particle work, because what we have today is the Humble Software Bundle Video Creators VFX Bundle. And essentially what this is a collection of stock footage assets for use, and these are have been used in the past for things like The Walking Dead, Call of Duty franchises, and so on. You've got a number of stock footage of things like gunshots, explosions, fire, transitions, lens flares, and then you've got mats that you can use as a background or for your own special effects or so on. All of these things can be used in software that supports ProRes files, including After Effects, Premiere, HitFilm, Vegas, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro, and more. Basically, a majority of what we're looking at today is provided as 1920 by 1080p HD MOV files. So you're probably going to have trouble playing them out of the box on Windows, for example, but if you have any of these editors, these work quite seamlessly. Now, if you got no idea how Humble Bundles work, basically it's a collection of stuff, in this case stock footage VFX, around a common theme, in this case, well, VFX, organized into tiers. You buy a higher value tier, you get all the tiers below it, you decide how your money is allocated between charity, the publisher, Humble, and if you so choose, and thanks so much if you do, to help support Game From Scratch. As always, I buy these bundles to let you know what you're going to get, and today is no exception. So let's look today quickly. There's a lot of stuff in here. A lot of times it's like a single VFX video or movie file you're buying. Any particular one of these you can drill into and figure out what you're dealing with. So here you've got one 2K resolution flare, electric energy clip, one glitch transition, and so on. So it gives you an idea of what is in that particular pack. Sometimes it is a single file you're getting. Most of the time, if it's like the $10 or $15 tier, it's a one-off sort of thing. So you've got, you know, if you need a spark, explosion, a small fire, or those kind of things. And these can also be used in real-time games for particle effects, by the way. So if you want to incorporate those into your games, you can do so. And when it comes to the license, by the way, you can get away with it. You've also got some background here like papers and motion effects and so on. Again, anything that you're interested in learning more about it, drill down on it, click there, you can get a little bit of a detail of it. Oops, did not mean to go backwards. Let's do that again. All right, so here we go. So that was the $1 tier. Again, a collection of stuff from if you need a torch effect. So you get torch, you got winds and smoke coming off and so on. You can use those together to create a particle. Again, you're kind of seeing they're all using the same graphic because they're sort of individual aspects from those packs. But as we're going to go on, you're going to see some of these packs are ginormous. We're also going to see a couple in action in just a minute. So at the next tier up, the $23.58 Canadian tier, also known as $15 US, you get a couple more fires here. AR-15 firing from two different areas, a pistol firing, flashes from different area, blood mist volume pack. This one's actually quite large. Here you're starting to see the dollar value of these things go up a bit. Same way, if you need a bunch of smoke, so if you've got a particle effect for your gun, you could use this in a game. For smoke pack there, or we've got sparks from hitting, bullet hit pack, and so on. Then we get into paint transition packs. Icon, this one is actually quite large, lens flare pack, grunge overlay packs, electric and energy pack. Now these ones are getting a little bit more cartoony in nature for effects of anime style lighting, electricity, and energy bolts. We'll see some of those in action in just a minute, and so on. And then we get to the final tier. This is where the really big files come in. We'll look at those files in just a second here, but you're looking at $32 Canadian, so $25 US. You're getting explosions, more explosions, fire crawling down a wall, ground burst pack, ground volume fire. This one again is a rather large pack. Explosions, again, $100. Large scale dust, $125. Small scale smoke plumes. So these are also, again, if you don't want to use particles, these can really kind of do the trick in a lot of game situations. And then we've got a couple more cartoon examples. Once again, these $10 ones tend to be like little small single clips. Fluid ink matte pack, the spreading inks matte pack, we're going to see that one in action. Glitch overlays, lens flare transition pack, paper transition pack, and the paper backgrounds pack. So that is kind of what you're getting. As I say, I always buy these, let you know what you do get. And here we are. So what you're going to notice here is there is a warning. These files are big. Make sure your network doesn't suck. And they're not lying. Also, the license is available here. We'll get to that in just a second. It's a great license. Don't worry about the license. So here you can see the files. They really range in size. 42 megabytes, 3.2 gigabytes. 178 megabytes, 3.7 gigabytes, 66 megabytes, and so on. So a lot of these little single one-offs are literally just going to be a single video clip that you can use however makes sense for you. Some of these are tiny, like a single lightning example here for 7 megabytes. Now let's scroll down here and start looking at some of the biggers. 1 gig, 1.2 gigabyte, 3.4 gigabytes for that blood mist. So if you want to have a lot of blood effects in your game, hey, you got a good selection there. 2.5 gigabytes. Yeah. Let's get to really big. Okay, let's scroll down here a little bit more. So we got 1.8 gigabytes. Nah, that ain't big. 4.4 gigabytes for the lens flare effect. Yeah, we're getting bigger now for sure. Oh, look, 11 gigabytes for the Dirt Blast. Okay, yeah, that's a sizable pack. The paper backgrounds pack is 5 gigabytes. We're gonna see one of those in action. Ground Fire. Oof. All right, so we're looking at 30 gigabytes now, and on it goes. 12.3 gigabytes, 32 gigabytes. So some of these packs are ginormous. Now, the nice thing is they're all hosted up on Humble. You can download them as many times as you want. I'll pick a middling one so you get an idea of the speed that's available here. So let's do something like, all right, 300 megabytes. So if you want to get the Torch pack, let's go ahead and grab that one. And you're going to see it is downloading now from their server. It's going to take me about 50 more seconds to grab that. They consistently download at 6 or 7 megabytes per second. I think that's more to my connection speed right now than it is to Humble. But if you've got a decent internet, these things don't take a long time to download. But if you're going to do something like this, you're going to probably want a download manager that can do multiple connections and so on, because that is going to take a long time. But their servers allow it. You can download these things as many times as you want. So if you only don't need the Fire for right now, you need it later on, you can download it from Humble servers as you need them. In terms of the licensing, the license is really good. Basically, here is the key line that you are interested in. You may use stock files for nearly any project, including feature films, broadcast, commercial, industrial, and educational videos, print projects, multimedia games, and the internet in perpetuity, as long as the stock file has been incorporated into any work with substantial value added by you. So basically what they want you to do is actually use these things in derived work. They don't want you just using them as special effects. So if you put them into your game, derived work, you did work, good to go. You can use it in perpetuity. Now, there are some limitations, but they're all quite reasonable. It's basically the same thing you get anytime you've got an asset deal on something like Humble or the asset store or anything like that. As it boils down to is you can't resell these things as clips or stock footage or anything like that. You also can't put them as a single downloadable or reverse engineer version from your website. So, you can't basically provide these as assets. You have to compile them into your binary or into a derived work of some kind, like a film or something. And the only one that might catch you up is if you are working on this with a client, with another company that you're working in it, and they're doing anything more than reviewing your work. So they're doing work as well. They need their own license as well. It's a very, very straightforward license for the most part. I will link this in the linked article down below so if you want to learn more. So now let's go take a look at some of these guys in action. And we're going to do this with HitFilm. By the way, HitFilm 16 was just released, which is nice. As you can see, I've already done this video once, so let's start all over again with a fresh new video. All right, so all of these files are basically provided as MOV files. I've grabbed a selection of them right here. Let's start off with this notebook paper example. This is just a small kind of animated clip of paper. Pretty straightforward. There you can see it kind of like so. And what we could do is drop one of those into our scene onto the video channel right here. And yep, let's match it in size. Okay, we're good to go. So we got that in there now. That's making me happy. And now let's bring in a couple more effects. So one of the things logically to check out. All right, I keep confusing myself with that one. Let's close that down and bring this one here. We got that spreading ink pack. So you can see as an example how that pack works. It's a selection of 40 animations for ink blotches and so on. I'll just grab a handful of them. We'll drop them in here like so. So you could use these however it makes sense to you, but say you're layering that on top of your ink example. We could play that one. Now, I've got to mask out the color channel, but in this case, I'll just do it with opacity. So you can see how you can kind of incorporate it into your project like so. And if you've got multiple ink blotches, we could go ahead and drop another one in after the fact. So there you see a different ink blotch. And we got a bunch of them going on here like so. So the same thing is going to work for all of these various different assets you've got in here. So we've got other things out here. We've got a sample lightning. Let's drop that over there. This is more of a single one-off cartoonish style effect. This could easily be used in a game, by the way. This is a much smaller file. This one is, like, we're talking 12 megabytes. So you're going to actually want to strip that down to make it game ready, which, by the way, you can bring it right in here and render it as a sequence of PNG files or something. No problem at all. Or you can incorporate it into the particle effect tool of choice and make it work that way as well. But a lot of these are designed basically for film and so on. Now, another collection that I have in here, here's one of the fire examples. It's a small example. It's one of those single one-offs. This is a 2K fire source. So drop that in there. So now you can see fire in action. So you can, just blend these into your world. You can obviously change the size of it as you wish and so on. You can animate it over time. And yeah, so if you need high definition fire or to overlay or to make your movie of choice or whatever, this is just one of the small examples. You've got tons of explosions, ground fires, and smoke effects and so on in this pack that obviously you could bring in, mix and match. You can bring in one of the smoke effects, bring it over top of this fire. And then we've got the other one I downloaded quite recently, the electronics example. This one is all more or less cartoony drawn effects, etc., and they are available as well, so you can mix and match them in however you wish. But that is one of the examples, and there's a ton of them. Again, these mob files, if you try and open any of them in Windows, you're going to find out that codec does not exist. So you need to have a tool that supports that actual codec, but almost all modern video editing software will support the codec that everything here is encoded in. So almost everything you're getting in this pack is a mob file format. They're going to be probably too high res to be used real time, so you're going to probably want to do a little bit of work there if you're going to be using it as a game-based special effects. If you're rendering for film, you just don't give a damn because, hey, these things are big to start with. So it is a huge collection of stock footage. Again, everything here is in ProRes file format, encoded as MOV files. The biggest I've seen is 2K resolution. The smallest I've seen is 1080p. So if you're doing 4K work, well, it's an aspect in a 4K film. So even if you're filming at 4K, you use a little like a 2K or even a 1080p fire example in it. You're not generally going to use a 4K fire example in a 4K video unless the video is literally about the fire. And then we got some like special effects and kind of work stuff there, or a little bit more artistic-y stuff. So even if you're not doing something realistic, some of these other effects may be useful to you. These paper transformations, for example, or so on. So you kind of get an idea of, so yeah, transitions if you want to have, an introduction film for your own channel or your own trailer or whatever. You've got a number of different things: tears, rolls, flips, crumples, and so on. So if you just want to add a little schnaz to your films or your video productions or your YouTube or whatever, you could use these kind of packs for that kind of stuff. And then some of these things are just straight out, captures of particle effects, explosions, and so on, which are pretty universally useful. So it's a very interesting pack for sure. It's going to be available, I think, next 20 days here. It is the Video Creators VFX pack. Let me know what you think of this one. Comments down below, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.